thankful for? The leadership.
Today, Junior?
You guys, we need XRP to stay above $3.30 to trigger another bull run specifically for XRP. The problem right now is we've got way too much liquidity sitting at the top, pushing it down. What we want to do today is we're going to go through the chart real quick. I've got a beautiful article kind of explaining some of the math in regards to where it is at and why there's so much resistance in that area. Now, make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss out on these updates because crypto is going to have another fat bull run. And every day we're making trades, printing money on the market, right? We get some beautiful, beautiful, easy wins that are under 3 hours of money. Easiest way to make money in the market. So definitely use that to your advantage. Subscribe. Make sure you're following. Don't hesitate to comment. And you can also reach out below. We've got the links for there. But let's talk about XRP, one of our favorite assets in the crypto market. You guys, we were here a while back, and on the school's lives, we drew this 5-wave structure. We see that it's actually consistently stayed within that 5-wave structure. We had another shorting opportunity here, which was roughly about a 14%. One of my big wins is the swing trade I've got here on Ethereum currently, and it is still in the money. And we can actually see, look, so our stop loss right now is here, right? So regardless of what happens in the market, it could just hit back here and we'll get stomped out, but we'll still have made this profit, and we took our first take profit here. So we've already made this, and you can see that here. This is a swing trade. So it's Ethereum trade. So right now we're already pulled out $852. We still have a remaining $2,700 in unrealized profit, and this was just a swing trade, and you could have done the exact same thing with XRP, right? XRP had the exact same type of movement, and even if you had started the short here, you're looking at around a 6-day 14%. And we also have this supply zone that it literally hit directly on. And you can see that. Look, like right now, we are 100% following this type of trend line, right? If we broke through here, and now we might retest it. I can easily see this being a retest point because it's the 61.8. And we can see it was followed 3 times before we dropped. And that fib retracement came from the bottom to the top of the whole 5 Elliott waves. Okay, and what basically this article is saying is XRP has been stuck within the bearish, and we can see that here on the chart, right? Like we can 100% see it stopped here. Past 12 days, we've had about a 14% drop, right? So we are stuck in that area. Now the peak was 335 on Thursday, but it did collapse about 6%. But I think there was big news which impacted the market, right? Now, I do agree with this statement. It does need to close above $3.30 in the next couple of weeks for us to assume that we're back on an uptrend. Because look, where we are here, right? This is a probability as well, right? We could do this, maybe bounce down, and hopefully we get a bounce back up, and then we use this as support, not resistance anymore. Once we see that, perfect entry for a long, and you can easily swing XRP for the next 2, 3, maybe even 2 to 3 days, maybe even week or two. Right. And once you see it doing that, I mean, you literally have a movement to get back up to here. Once it gets to 330, this is a very, very, very high supply and demand zone. This would be a zone where we're either going to get another 5% up, 6% up, or we might get a full blown correction and it could crash back down. But realistically, without surpassing this area, I do not see XRP on an uptrend. Right. And you can see it here on the bigger time frames. Right, like look on this bigger time frame, we're gonna leave both of those on there. We can see that it broke out of that, so we don't need that anymore. But we've got the supply zone, resistance here, so it has to break this resistance for us to see us hitting all-time highs again. And that 10% from reaching there is not going to be that hard, especially if BTC is catching up. Because you guys, right now BTC is still at 113. We are getting a big downtrend on BTC. You can see that. Right? Like you can see that fully here, and that's okay. Like it is still following this trend line. And oh my God, you guys, we drew this trend line here, right? And it followed it again. There were so many points you had an opportunity to short and make a lot of money in the market. And that's the benefit of crypto. That's why I say make sure you're subscribed. And if you are looking for the best place to trade crypto, this is my favorite. This is literally what I use every freaking day. Now, if you want a really good exchange to trade in that I used to make money every freaking day, I do use BTCC. Super duper easy to use. They give you the opportunity to use extremely high leverage. And I only like that because on all of my trades, I actually use a very, very small amount of margin and a very, very high leverage. You can actually see that here. I'll use $100 margin and usually I'll 500 exit, which gives me a $50,000 position size. Just do understand that my stop loss are super, super, super tight right? Because that's what gives me the capability to not lose a lot of money, because you cannot control the market. Yeah, on some of these trades, I do not lose that much at all, right? The goal is to minimize the losses and maximize the gains on something like this. And some of these are just stop losses, right? So the asset started going in our way, and then we immediately moved the stop loss, and it was too tight, so it jumped out really, really quickly. Because at 123, that was only a 0.20% move, right? So it was not as big of a take profit like I was shooting for here, but that's just something to think about. But BTCC does make it easy for me. That is why I use the high leverage. I do have the link below, which also has the 10% deposit bonus. So you guys, like, I deposited 10K, I got 1,000. I use that to trade. We can use that to practice, get better and understand the market, understand how to use the system. And then from there on, it becomes secondhand nature. All right. But just make sure you always got the charts up. Make sure you're really, really focused on trading and understanding that, look, you will take some losses, just like here. Like, I've got, you guys, I'm only at a 50% win rate. Out of my 50 trades, well, 51 now, 25 of them have been losses, full-blown losses. Look, loss. But at a 50% win rate, that's not that bad. And you can always see that my winners are way bigger than my losers, right? Way bigger than my losers. And that's really how you trade to offset your risk to reward ratio. So if you need any help, please don't hesitate. Reach out below, you guys. And don't forget to be a subscriber. Click that link below. I'll see you guys on the next video.